A new aircraft has been revealed in Russia, and when I say revealed, I mean a huge, over-the-top production to show it off. It was complete with the builders advertising it on their building in English, and promotional ads playing off the UFO craze, where, in the US, they're saying that they've been seeing things in the sky that they can't explain. So I guess the joke is implying that maybe it's this aircraft. This new aircraft, for now called Checkmate, and reportedly now with the designation Su-75, is a stealth fighter. It's smaller than the Su-57, so it won't be able to carry as large a number of weapons, reportedly a 7-ton payload capacity compared to the Su-57's 10 tons, but nevertheless, they show off a wide range of weapons it can carry. These include short and long-range air defense missiles, standoff range, ground attack missiles and glide bombs, precision-guided bombs, rockets, and more. They have even been discussing plans for an unmanned version. It's an extremely ambitious project, but the problem with most ambitious projects is they tend to become extremely expensive trying to work out all the unforeseen problems that arise. So, can Russia afford the new jet? Maybe, but they can definitely afford to outfit the pilots with the Top Gun bundle from this video's sponsor, Commando Store. They are always getting new military surplus that's functional, durable, and historically significant. Unlike other surplus shops, their gear is sorted by its native size and graded for condition, giving collectors and active users a better idea of what to expect when they buy. They also commission reproductions of gear that's no longer available, like the West German Polizei bomber jacket, the South African waxy boot, and an assortment of other cultural artifacts and accessories to match. With classic surplus drying up worldwide, Commando Store makes it a core value to preserve the historical and cultural significance of these era-defining artifacts, all while offering them at a higher quality level than the average dusty surplus warehouse. Their mailing list is the best way to keep up with their ever-changing inventory. They'll send you about 3 or 4 emails a month letting you know what's in stock, where it came from, what the history is, and some bonus humor. With it, you won't miss out on their rare surplus, limited run reproductions, or their off-the-wall sales. Go to commandostore.com/covercabal to sign up, and you'll get 10% off your first order. But do at least sign up. You can always easily unsubscribe, but it really helps out this channel a lot. Again, Commando Store. In the press event, Yuri Slusar, the general director of the United Aircraft Corporation, which Sukhoi is now a part of, stated that from the beginning that the goal of the aircraft was to make an affordable 5th-generation stealth fighter. In the talk, he did not state specifically how much the aircraft will cost, and that was something that they would need to work out in negotiations with possible customers and based off their needs. But many believe its goal is to cost around $25 to $30 million per plane. Now, if this plane is successful, and in the end comes in at or even near that price, it would likely have a huge customer base lining up to buy it. Until recently, stealth aircraft have only been the domain of the richest superpowers. The F-35 did start to change that, with now over a dozen countries operating stealth aircraft, but the F-35 costs several times more, which is really limiting smaller countries from being able to buy it, and straining the budgets of those that do. So the goal here is really to build an affordable stealth fighter, and that's honestly what everybody wants. It's the holy grail of fighter aircraft. Stealth offers incredible capabilities. The fact that your enemy cannot see you until you're virtually right on top of them is a major advantage in aerial combat, strike missions, reconnaissance, and everything else. The one major problem though is cost. We have constantly heard how expensive the F-35 is, for example, that they're costing $100 million each, but even that is just the initial price to buy it. The maintenance costs, cost for replacement parts, the actual operating costs, which are much higher than other fighters, and much more, all need to be factored in. On top of that, as I've said before, there's the cost of losing one. Since these stealth fighters cost more, it generally means that you cannot operate as many, so losing one in combat, training, or even just to maintenance can really affect a military's ability to continue fighting in a battle and carry out operations. So, being able to build a stealth fighter that's affordable in all these ways, and closer in cost to a non-stealth fighter, would be an incredible feat. And Russia has some things going for it here, as now it does have experience actually building, not just designing, a stealth fighter, with the serial production of the Su-57. They can take the lessons they learned from it and make this new plane better. Whether that's figuring out what is important in stealth design and what's not, or finding cheaper materials that can be used, or streamlining manufacturing, or even design changes to make maintenance easier. And in Rostech's video, they specifically mention how easy it'll be to maintain, also how few personnel it'll require to operate it, and saying that it doesn't require any special support equipment like special hangars to store it in. And I think a lot of people underestimate the importance of these. Just designing an aircraft is relatively easy. There have been hundreds of designs for new stealth aircraft made by many different countries over the last few years. Pretty much anyone can build a design, make some cool looking CGI renderings, or even build a static mock-up. But the real challenge is being able to manufacture the aircraft, and in large numbers, and at an affordable price. To do that, optimization of manufacturing is key, and it can be the difference between a successful aircraft and a failure. Manufacturing is also where you're going to spend the most money, building factories, machines and robots, computer systems, skilled labor, etc. So you have to get it right to succeed. Unfortunately, Russia is not very open with just how much money they spend. In the US, budgets are released every year detailing where they plan to spend every penny, and any problems that occur often become front page news and hot political topics. With Russia, often the only indication we'll get is delays and how many they end up buying. Or, in the case with the Su-57, foreign involvement. India worked together with Russia on a version of the Su-57 called the Sukhoi Hal FGFA. Because they were involved, we know the cost began to increase as more and more problems were found. Eventually, India decided to pull out completely, and the whole project was cancelled. And since then, Russia's planned number of Su-57s that it would procure has decreased significantly to just 76, and there's still a good chance that that number will decrease even further. But speaking of foreign involvement, it's likely that Russia will need to find other countries that will promise to buy the aircraft so that they can offset some of the costs. This is similar in a way to what the US did with the F-35. Rostech's advertisement leading to the unveiling even show a wide mix of pilots from across the world, again really hinting that this aircraft is aimed for the export market. Russia relies heavily on exports in order to offset costs to keep building new aircraft for its own air force. The Su-30, for example, which received billions of dollars from both India and China at the end of the 90s to help develop. Russia originally did not have any plans to operate that aircraft themselves. That is, until its success in the export market helped reduce costs and prove its capabilities, and now they operate around 130 of them. However, the Su-30 is really just a major, upgraded version of the Su-27, similar to the US Hornet and Super Hornet. They knew the basic design worked from decades of experience, and they already had existing manufacturing facilities and equipment from the Su-27. Building a brand new aircraft from the ground up is a whole different ballgame, and not one easy to do. Again, this is true anywhere, and can be seen with the decades it took and hundreds of billions of dollars spent to complete the F-35. Compare that to the F-15EX, which, as the name implies, is based off the already existing F-15. The F-15EX went from the drawing board to production in just 3 years, and costing a fraction of the F-35. So, there is a long way to go before this aircraft ever enters service. What we see in the video most certainly isn't going to fly, but it is stated that it is more than just a mock-up, and that it will actually be used for ground testing this year. They also state that it will become operational by 2026, but this is extremely unlikely. It will almost certainly be much longer. And whether or not it ever becomes operational might really depend on how many other countries it can get to commit to buying it. But I have to say, it does look promising. Russia has learned a lot from manufacturing their Su-57, which should help keep future costs down. The fact that it's also a single-engine aircraft typically means that it'll be less expensive, as engines themselves are extremely expensive to build and maintain. And they also seem to be making a serious focus on reducing additional operating and other maintenance costs as well. With all that said, it's worth mentioning that this project appears to be undertaken by UAC alone. The actual Russian government has not yet said that they will ever buy the aircraft for themselves. So, a lot is still unknown, and we'll just have to wait and see.